Listen up, everybody. I don't care who you are, where you come from, or what your situation is. It's time for a wake up call. Stop being stupid. Accountability means owning your actions, both good and bad. It means understanding that the choices you make are yours, and you can't hide behind excuses. It's easy to point fingers to say, well, if this person didn't do that, or if this didn't happen to me, but that's not how life works. You want to grow, you want to move forward, then you need to stand up and take responsibility for where you are right now. Accountability is about looking at the results of your decisions, whether they're good or bad, and saying, I did that. I made that choice. I'm the one who put myself in this position. And when you mess up, and you will mess up, accountability means not running away from it. It means facing the consequences head on and saying, I own that. Now, how do I fix it? Because here's the truth, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to do the work for you. Success and failure, growth and setbacks, they're all tied to the decisions you make. And if you want to change the trajectory of your life, you've got to stop blaming the world, your circumstances, your upbringing, or anyone else. When you take accountability, you take control. You stop letting life happen to you, and you start making life happen for you. It's not about being perfect. It's about being responsible. Every time you point a finger at someone else, you lose power. But when you point the finger at yourself and say, I can do better, I will do better, you regain that power. You regain your future. Accountability is the foundation of integrity. It's a deep internal strength, knowing that no matter what, you stand by your choices. It doesn't matter if you're in the spotlight or in the shadows, you own it. People respect that. People admire that. But most importantly, you will start respecting yourself more, because you'll realize you don't need to lie to yourself or anyone else. So don't be afraid to admit when you've messed up. Don't be afraid to face your mistakes, because doing so is how you learn and grow. When you embrace accountability, you begin to unlock the path to your true potential. This expanded version dives deeper into what accountability really means, emphasizing its power to shape decisions, foster integrity, and drive personal growth. Self-reflection is one of the most powerful tools you have for personal growth. But it's also one of the hardest things to do. It requires you to be brutally honest with yourself, to look deep within and recognize not just your strengths, but also your weaknesses, your flaws, and the patterns that are holding you back. It's easy to blame others, to point fingers at your circumstances, or to say, I didn't have the right breaks, but self-reflection is about understanding that the most important relationship you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. When you reflect on your life, on your choices, your actions, your words, you need to ask the hard questions. Why did I make that decision? What was I thinking? Why do I keep falling into the same trap? You have to take ownership of your mistakes and failures, not because you want to beat yourself up, but because you want to learn from them. Without reflection, you'll keep repeating the same mistakes. You'll keep bumping up against the same wall, wondering why you're not making progress. Self-reflection isn't just about looking back at what went wrong, it's also about recognizing what went right. It's about celebrating your wins, no matter how small, and acknowledging what you did to make them happen. Too often, people get caught up in the grind and the struggle, and they never take a moment to recognize their own victories. If you can't recognize your success, how can you build on it? Self-reflection helps you understand where you've been, but it also helps you identify where you want to go. It's also about recognizing the habits and mindsets that are keeping you stuck. What beliefs are you holding on to that are outdated or limiting? Maybe you tell yourself you're not good enough, or that success is for other people, not for you. Or maybe you're afraid of failure so much that you never even try. Self-reflection means confronting those false beliefs, those fears, and looking at them for what they really are: obstacles that only exist in your mind. When you reflect honestly, you begin to understand how much of your life is controlled by your thoughts, and that's when the real work begins. The problem is, most people are afraid of self-reflection. Why? Because it forces you to face things you don't want to face. It's uncomfortable. It's painful. It means admitting that you haven't been perfect, that you've made mistakes. But here's the thing: those mistakes don't define you. It's what you do with them that matters. So yeah, self-reflection can be tough, but it's necessary. You can't change what you don't acknowledge, and you can't grow if you don't understand where you're starting from. Self-reflection also involves understanding your values, your purpose, and your why. What do you stand for? What drives you? What's the point of all the hard work if you don't know what you're working toward? When you take the time to reflect, you align yourself with a deeper sense of purpose. You stop drifting. You stop letting life happen to you. Instead, you start making choices that are in line with who you truly are, not who you think you should be. Without self-reflection, you're just going through the motions. You're living reactively instead of proactively. You're letting your circumstances dictate your life rather than taking charge of them. Self-reflection is your opportunity to pause, step back, and get clear on who you are, who you want to be, and how you're going to get there. This expanded version of self-reflection highlights the depth of introspection required to truly learn from past experiences, break negative cycles, and intentionally shape a better future. Emotional control is one of the most important skills you can develop. It's about mastering your emotions, not letting them control you. Life is full of moments that will trigger strong reactions: anger, frustration, fear, sadness, even joy. But the problem is when you let those emotions dictate your actions without thinking. When you act impulsively, when you let anger or fear or pride drive your decisions, you're setting yourself up for failure. Emotional control is about understanding that your emotions are powerful, but they don't have to rule you. You are in charge. We've all been there. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you want to throw your hands up in the air, curse them out, maybe even chase them down. But when you act out of anger, what happens? You lose your peace of mind and you lose control of the situation. You make the situation worse, not better. That's because your emotions are like waves. They come and go. If you let them pull you under, you drown. But if you can stay calm, stay grounded, and keep your head above water, you can weather the storm. Emotional control doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. It doesn't mean you never get upset or angry. That's unrealistic. What it means is responding, not reacting. It means creating space between what happens to you and how you choose to respond. That pause, the moment between stimulus and reaction, is where your power lies. In that space, you have a choice. You can either react out of anger or frustration, or you can choose a better response. You can choose to stay calm, to take a deep breath, and to think things through. Emotional control also means knowing when to express your feelings and when to keep them in check. It's about being mindful of how your emotions affect those around you. You ever had someone snap at you, not because of something you did, but because they were holding on to their own anger or frustration? It happens all the time. But the key is recognizing that your emotions are not just yours, they impact others. Emotional control means understanding that your reaction, your tone, your attitude can either lift people up or bring them down. If you can stay in control of your emotions, you can maintain a positive environment, you can maintain respect, and you can make better decisions that benefit everyone involved. Think about stress. How many of us have lost it over something small, something that in the grand scheme of things doesn't matter? We get overwhelmed, we snap, and then regret it later. That's because we let stress and pressure take over our minds. Emotional control is about stepping back from the situation and asking yourself, what's really at stake here? Is this worth my emotional energy? Am I making a mountain out of a molehill? By pausing and asking these questions, you start to break the cycle of emotional reactivity. You start to realize that most of the time you don't need to react. You can respond thoughtfully, even when the pressure is on. A big part of emotional control is also learning how to deal with fear, the fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of being judged. Fear can paralyze you, can keep you from taking risks or stepping out of your comfort zone. But when you control your fear, you turn it into something positive. Fear becomes fuel. You use it to push yourself, to get out there and do what you need to do, even if your heart is racing. Fear can make you stronger, but only if you don't let it make the decisions for you. Emotional control means acknowledging that fear is natural, but it doesn't get to dictate your actions. And let's talk about anger for a minute, because let's be real, we all get angry. Whether it's a bad situation, an injustice, or just something that rubs you the wrong way. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is often how they manage their anger. Anger can cloud your judgment, make you say things you don't mean, and cause you to make choices you'll regret. But if you can take a step back when you feel anger rising, if you can breathe, if you can process why you're angry and then respond with intention, you turn anger into something constructive. You don't let it destroy you. Emotional control is not about being perfect. It's about mastery, about making sure your emotions don't get in the way of your success. When you control your emotions, you control your outcomes. You don't let external circumstances dictate how you feel. Instead, you dictate how you feel about the circumstances. The more you can control your emotions, the clearer your thinking becomes, the more confident you become in your actions, and the more effective you become in everything you do. This expanded version of emotional control highlights how crucial it is to not just acknowledge your emotions, but to understand them, regulate them, and use them constructively for growth, better decision-making, and maintaining inner peace. Discipline is the backbone of success. It's the ability to stay focused, stay consistent, and keep doing what you need to do even when you don't feel like it. It's easy to talk about dreams and goals, to say, I want this or I want that, but without discipline, those dreams are just words. Discipline is what turns words into actions and actions into results. It's the difference between wishing for success and actually achieving it. Discipline starts with self-control. It means delaying gratification, putting in the hard work when no one is watching, and staying on course, even when the rewards aren't immediate. We live in a world of instant gratification. Social media, entertainment, even fast food, everything's designed for you to get what you want right now. But true success doesn't work like that. True success is built on daily, consistent effort. And that requires discipline. It means waking up early when you'd rather sleep in. It means putting in the extra hours when you're tired. It means saying no to short-term pleasures for long-term gain. It's also about commitment, a commitment to your goals, your values, and your vision. If you're disciplined, you show up every single day, whether it's convenient or not, whether you feel motivated or not. There are days when you're going to be tired, when you're going to be frustrated, when you're going to want to quit. That's when your discipline is tested. And the people who succeed are the ones who keep going, who push through the discomfort, who refuse to let their emotions or circumstances derail them from their path. But discipline isn't just about doing the hard things, it's about doing them consistently. It's about building positive habits that move you closer to your goals every day. One day of hard work isn't enough. One week of discipline isn't enough. It's the daily grind that makes the difference. You don't become great by taking shortcuts. You become great by showing up day in and day out and doing what needs to be done, even when it feels like you're not making any progress. Focus is a big part of discipline. The world is full of distractions, and it's easy to get pulled in a million different directions. But discipline means you stay focused on what matters. It means saying no to things that don't align with your goals, no matter how tempting they are. It means prioritizing what's important, even when there are other things that seem just as urgent. It's about understanding that every choice you make either brings you closer to your goals or takes you further away. So every decision matters. Another key aspect of discipline is resilience. No matter how disciplined you are, you're going to face setbacks, you're going to fail, you're going to hit obstacles that make you want to quit. But discipline isn't just about sticking to the plan when things are easy, it's about keeping your head down and pushing forward when things get tough. It's about maintaining the mental toughness to keep going when it feels like the world is against you. Resilience is the muscle that discipline builds. And the stronger it gets, the more you can handle. Discipline also means being accountable to yourself. It's one thing to have someone else holding you to a standard, but it's a whole other thing to hold yourself accountable. That's where true discipline lies. No one else can force you to work hard. No one else can push you to get better. It's on you. And when you hold yourself accountable, you don't make excuses. You don't blame the world for why you didn't succeed. You own your actions and you keep moving forward, no matter what. And don't forget that discipline is a long-term game. You're not going to see results overnight. Success doesn't happen in a sprint, it happens in a marathon. You're going to have to stay disciplined for months, years, even decades to see the payoff. It's about understanding that the work you're putting in today is the foundation for the success you'll have tomorrow. Every effort, every sacrifice, every small action you take is stacking up towards something bigger. And that's why discipline is so powerful, it compounds over time. The more you practice it, the stronger it gets. Discipline is also about self-respect. When you commit to doing what you said you would do, when you push through the hard times and stay on track, you build trust with yourself. You start to respect your own word, and when you respect yourself, others will respect you too. Discipline helps you become a person of integrity, someone who can be counted on, someone who delivers no matter what the circumstances are. This expanded version of discipline focuses on the consistent, long-term effort required for success, the importance of focus and resilience, and the relationship between discipline and self-respect. Growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and potential are not fixed. They can be developed over time through hard work, learning, and perseverance. It's about seeing challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. When you have a growth mindset, you understand that failure isn't something to be feared or avoided, it's something to embrace. Failure is simply feedback, a stepping stone on the path to improvement. One of the most powerful aspects of a growth mindset is the ability to embrace learning. People with a growth mindset are constantly seeking to improve themselves. They understand that every experience, every interaction, and every setback carries a lesson. They don't shy away from new challenges. Instead, they face them head on, knowing that each one is an opportunity to grow. The key is to stop believing that you've reached your limit. If you think you're not good enough at something, that's a fixed mindset. But when you believe that with effort, practice, and persistence you can improve, you open up limitless possibilities. You take control of your own development. A growth mindset also requires a deep belief in effort. It's easy to think that talent alone is the key to success. Society often elevates natural ability as the measure of achievement. But when you adopt a growth mindset, you realize that effort is just as important, if not more so. The most successful people aren't necessarily the most talented. They are the ones who work harder, who push through the hard times, and who keep going when others quit. With effort, you turn potential into performance. You turn setbacks into comebacks. It's the commitment to improvement that sets you apart. Resilience plays a major role in a growth mindset. It's about developing the ability to bounce back after failure. Failure, mistakes, and criticism don't define you, they refine you. People with a growth mindset don't take setbacks personally. Instead of viewing a mistake as a permanent reflection of their ability, they see it as a moment to analyze, adjust, and do better next time. They understand that every successful person has faced rejection, defeat, or obstacles. They just didn't let those things stop them. One of the biggest roadblocks to growth is the fear of failure. When you're afraid to fail, you hold yourself back. You avoid risks. You shy away from challenges. But a growth mindset shifts your perspective on failure. You start to see it as an essential part of the process. It's through failure that you discover what doesn't work, and more importantly, how to do it better next time. Failure is feedback. It tells you what needs to change, what needs to change, what needs to be refined. It's an opportunity to learn, to adapt, and to come back stronger. A growth mindset also means you value effort over results in the beginning. Too many people are focused only on the outcome, whether it's getting the grade, winning the game, or closing the deal. But when you focus on effort, the process of getting better, the work that goes into improvement, you begin to build something more powerful than temporary success. You develop resilience, discipline, and mastery. The result may not come immediately, but with persistence, it will come. And when it does, it'll be built on a solid foundation. Another crucial part of a growth mindset is embracing challenges. People with a fixed mindset avoid challenges because they don't want to risk failure. But those with a growth mindset actively seek them out. Challenges are what make you better. They push you out of your comfort zone. They force you to stretch, to learn new things, and to innovate. Without challenges, you stagnate. Growth comes when you tackle difficult problems, when you stretch beyond your current capabilities, and when you push yourself to the edge of your abilities. That's where the magic happens. Self-belief is a cornerstone of a growth mindset. It's the belief that you can always improve, that you can always learn something new, and that you can always get better. People with a growth mindset don't look at someone else's success and say, "I'll never be able to do that." Instead, they say, "If they can do it, so can I." They believe in their ability to learn, adapt, and develop the skills they need to succeed. It's not about being perfect from the start. It's about committing to progress, no matter how slow it may seem at times. A growth mindset is also about valuing feedback. People with a fixed mindset often take feedback personally, seeing it as a critique of their abilities. But when you have a growth mindset, you welcome feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. You see it as a tool for growth, as a way to fine-tune your approach and keep improving. You understand that no one is beyond feedback, not the best athletes, not the top performers, not the most successful business people. Everyone, no matter how accomplished, has something they can improve upon, something they can learn. Finally, a growth mindset is about patience. Growth doesn't happen overnight. There's no quick fix, no shortcut. True growth takes time, discipline, and a willingness to stay in the process, even when it's difficult. You have to trust that if you keep putting in the work, if you stay dedicated to learning and improving, the results will come. And when they do, they'll be built on a foundation of hard-earned skills, confidence, and resilience. This expanded version of growth mindset emphasizes the importance of learning from failure, embracing challenges and valuing effort, persistence, and feedback as integral components to growth. It underscores that growth is not just about achieving immediate results, but about developing a lifelong approach to learning and improvement.